fair to the people that are trading goods.
The workers who create them are treated and paid fairly.
Farmed and produced and purchased by the manufacturer or the retailer, whatever, in a sustainable way. So it's to support the local communities or the areas that it comes from, paying them fair wages for what they're doing in our society versus theirs.
Education is important in the area of fair trade because people need to understand the world economic order. What is going on, what is the relationship between the developed and the developing world, what is the relationship between buyers and sellers, and the issue of exploitation of people from the third world is a major issue which boils down to human rights issue, and therefore education is very important.
We carry Persians. For instance, this pattern here is a Persian, which is a highly intricate design. It may take up to a year to make it. They are heirloom quality hand knotted rugs, so they are an investment. We're not saying that they're very inexpensive, but you'll be happy to know that 60 to 61% of the actual retail price of this carpet were paid to the artisans.
I think the biggest opportunity for fair trade at the moment is the increasing recognition and demand within North America and Europe for fairly traded products. So there is a market there. There is a group of consumers that are interested in fair trade and are interested in purchasing fair trade products. So I see that as an opportunity.
One of the challenges for Just Shirts as an organization, as an alternative trade organization that aims to bring products from the Single Mothers Cooperative to the Canadian market, is that we are very much subject to market pressures. So in the same sense as Gildan is, as the Fruit of the Loom is, Just Shirts, no matter how much of a social justice component it has, also is subject to these same pressures. One of them could be access to the economies of scale when it comes to the buying of the product, that is textiles, that is raw textiles, or when it comes to the shipping. We pay more per item than these large-scale companies like Gildan. And so we have to find ways to continue having that fair trade component, continue having prices that are accessible, but at the same time try to find a competitive angle.
Ethical and environmental procurement involves ensuring that the purchases that are made for an organization follow pre-established guidelines as far as ethical standards or environmental standards.
Our best-selling product, of course, is coffee. We create quite a selection from South America's to have a couple African as well, coffee farmers that we work with. Actually, this company that we have here was actually started by a former volunteer. He used to volunteer for 10,000 Villages, and he came from San Miguel, Colombia. These baskets are made by a group in Swaziland called Gonrul, and they are master weavers.
The idea of price is really important because I think when people are buying fairly traded products, they want to be sure that the price is a fair price, that a large portion or a sufficient portion of the price is going back to the people who've actually produced the goods. However, at the same time, I think people who are buying fair trade products are also purchasing a history about the products that they're producing. They're buying a connection with the people who have actually made these sorts of things. So I guess what I'm saying is that within the fair trade market, price is also important, but consumers are concerned that it's a quality product, that it's a fair price, and that they're also getting to know a bit more the people behind the product, who made the product.
The ethical side really is a two-phase. We're talking fair trade on one side as well as workers' rights on the other side. So we're trying to cover this whole area. So the opportunities are, we recognize that as Canadians we're pretty privileged in how we live, and in developing countries they don't necessarily have all the benefits that we do here. So what we're trying to do is our part to ensure that the people in those producing countries are fairly compensated for the work that they're doing, that they're not being taken advantage of. on the fair trade side. On the workers' rights side, again in Canada, I think we're in pretty good shape as far as ensuring that workers are treated fairly. In all countries, that's not the case. So we're trying to do this through the supply chain, ensure that the vendors that we're dealing with are treating their employees fairly and reasonably, and on the fair trade side, they're being paid, compensated properly for the work that they're doing.
Fair trade depends on ethical consumers, but when we make it as part of the human rights issues I mentioned earlier, that it's unethical for institutions, countries, individuals to exploit others.
I think as awareness increases, the market for fairly traded products will continue to expand. Some estimates suggest that it's growing at 40% per year. And if that continues to happen, there will be increased demand, and it will become easier for fair trade producers and importers to achieve that economy of scale that's needed to produce a high quality product at a price that customers are willing to pay.